So dudes, after running the Mothkeeper's wraps for a day and trying all the possible subclasses, I finally settled on a build that is truly a work of art. Mothkeeper's wraps converts grenade abilities into a specialized cage of loyal mods, that upon activation releases 2 mods that seek out allies or enemies. Allies touched by the mods are granted void overshields, whereas enemies are blown up and blinded. We are pairing these exotic gauntlets with X Dirus to spawn these mods without the need for a grenade charge, and to make ourselves pretty much unkillable. Enough talk. Let's get started. The only super available to use is Silkstrike, a great ad clear and damage super. For the dodge, I use Marksman dodge for the lower cooldown and reload capabilities. Like the super, Threaded Spike is the only melee ability we can use. However, it is insanely useful, since it is a ranged melee ability that can sever rooms of ads and self-regen if caught right before returning. Remember, Sever now reduces combatant damage by 40%. For the grenade, I just chose Grapple, but it doesn't really matter since it will be converted to a cage with a 73-second cooldown. When we take a look at the aspects, we'll be using Threaded Specter and Whirling Maelstrom. Threaded Specter deploys a decoy on dodge that combatants are lured to attack. Upon taking lethal damage, it explodes and releases 2 Threadlings that target nearby enemies. It's a perfect tool to get the attention off of us. Whirling Maelstrom makes Tangles we destroy become Beyblades for 12 seconds. These Beyblade Tangles track targets and unravel them on contact. The fragments are Thread of Fury, Generation, Transmutation, and Warding. Fury grants melee energy for dealing damage with Tangles, which pairs well with Whirling Maelstrom. Generation generates grenade ability energy for every instance of damage we deal. Despite the nerf, it's still fairly potent. Transmutation causes us to spawn Tangles on weapon kills while we have Woven Mail active. And finally, Thread of Warding causes us to gain Woven Mail upon picking up an orb of power. Let's cover the Hive Moth armor. On the helmet, I use Harmonic Siphon, Arc Siphon, and Special Ammo Finder. Arc Siphon can be swapped to Heavy Ammo Finder if you'd like. For Mothkeeper's wraps, I went with Grenade Kickstart, Firepower, and Focusing Strike. With the chest plate, I slotted Arc Reserves and 2 variable resistance mods. And on the Hive Waiters, I chose to go with Arc Siphon, Recuperation, and Invigoration. Finally, on the cloak was Bomber, Outreach, and Reaper. Since there are so many failsafes in this build, 100 resilience is not required, but it does help. As a hunter, you should prioritize discipline and mobility. Let's move on to the weapon loadout section. By the way, there will only be one weapon loadout today since X Dirus is such an integral piece of the build. Weapon loadout 1 utilizes a synergy between X Dirus and Mothkeeper's wraps. Since we're already on the topic, X Dirus is going to take up our energy slot since it can spawn overshield mods from kills. These overshields let us go on killing sprees more easily since we can partially block damage. In the kinetic slot, I opted to use unravel, since a hand cannon and Threadling buff make it feel amazing. I crafted mine with Keep Away and Hatchling for the AoE. The heavy weapon I chose to use was Half-Truths. Since we can't use Grapple, I decided to craft mine with Eager Edge to traverse maps faster. Game loop time. The whole point of the build is to keep the attention away from us while simultaneously applying damage. Start encounters by throwing a loyal moth cage and firing X Dirus at enemies. If you can manage, throw a cage at your feet to get an overshield and slay out. When you make orbs, collect them for Woven Mail, and when you have Woven Mail, your weapon kills will create Tangles, which you can throw to make them auto-tracking Beyblades. When a big threat comes along, throw your Threaded Spike at them to reduce their outgoing damage, and dodge to create a Threaded Specter. Honestly, the whole build is tailored to have a bazillion failsafes. You have Sever, Woven Mail, Blind, Void Overshields, and a ridiculous amount of AoE damage. Just play smart, and you'll be fine. Mothkeeper's wraps are super fun to play with, but not only that, they're actually effective. I saw other people using Arc Shredders as the main subclass, and while it was fun, I found Strand to be too good to pass up. But then again, I'm just a sucker for damage resist. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and happy farming.